Good morning everyone, and welcome back to my creative studio. Today I have something a little bit different for you. We are actually going to be working on this machine. I have several sewing machines, but this one is my workhorse. This is my Singer Heavy Duty. This one specifically is the 4432, so it has the 3 different stitches per slot over here. Today we are going to be changing out the feed dog. These ones are definitely have a lot of miles on them, definitely wore down. So I have the new one in, and I'm gonna show you how to change it out. I do get mine from Sewing Parts Online, and they are, for this machine, they are $7.50 each. And I always buy a couple each time, because I do have several Singers. I actually have 3 of them, and they all take the same one. And like I said, I put a lot of miles on them and they get wore out. How do they get wore out? The teeth actually do wear down. And how you know that is your projects won't feed as well, because that's exactly what they're supposed to do, or you can slip around when you're doing it. You notice it a lot when you're working with very, very thick or just like 2 layers going through. So these ones are pretty smooth. This one is definitely rough. So we're going to get that changed out. We're also going to do a little cleanup. I don't remember how long it's been since I've cleaned this one up on the inside. So we're going to go ahead and do that today as well. Disclaimer, I am not certified to do this. I just do my own repairs and cleaning. I don't recommend doing it unless you're absolutely comfortable with working on your machine. It is easy to do, but again, it's your comfort level. If you are having an issue with it feeding, it might be time to change this out. Either you do it or you have somebody who is certified to do it. If your machine is under warranty, then I would have a certified tech do it to save your warranty. This one is, oh wow, this machine is years old. 6 years old, I think. Yeah, it's about 6 or 7 years old. This is the second feed dog that I am putting into this one. There's no more warranty left on it, so I'm not worried about that. Alright, so let's get started. Alright, so the first thing you want to make sure is that your machine is unplugged. You can see lights over here on it. This is actually a strip light. It runs on its own separate circuit, but my machine is unplugged, so no power is going through it. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and remove the foot. And the needle. Okay, now we're going to remove your plate. If you never had yours off, these screws here will be very tight. So what you can do is, with a little stubby like this, put a pair of pliers around it, and it'll give you the leverage to get it turned. Set those off to the side because you do not want them to fall down into the machine. The nice thing about this machine is there is a door underneath, So if something does fall down, you can retrieve it from the back side of it, which is nice. And as you can see, that is the inside of the machine, and it is rather fuzzy. I do sew a lot of cotton with cotton batting, so it gets pretty fuzzy pretty quick. But we'll get this all cleaned up and get that changed out. Alright, so this part of it, which holds the bobbin, should lift out just like that. Kind of an angle, little wiggle, and it should come out completely. And as you can see, yeah, we have some cotton going on in there. Alright, so if you don't have one of these little brushes or something like it, recommend getting it. This does really well as picking stuff up. You do not want to use canned air just to blow it into the machine, because that's exactly what it will do. It'll just get down inside of it, gum things up, and be really, really bad. So another thing you can pick up for your sewing machines is a little handheld vacuum. This one here is a USB plug-in to charge it up. Very simple. There's a couple different tips. They are turnable, so you can get in there and clean it up. This is just an electronic vacuum for, like, say your keyboard or something like that. But they do work really well for doing this. Unfortunately, no, they can't get like deep inside, but they can get all this fuzzy stuff on the top. Okay. So now we're going to go ahead and take this off. This can be either done with a Phillips or a flat. So I have that there. And again, these are going to be super, super tight. I'm actually going to use the flat. Especially if you never had them off. And be careful not to drop it down in the machine. There we go. Okay. 2 little screws. And there's the old one. The nice thing is there's only one way that these really go back in. There's not like adjustment slots or anything, so straight on little bolts back into it and you're good to go. Just make sure the bolts are super tight when you're done. Alright, we're going to vacuum this up. Alright, another thing good to have is Q-tips, because these can slip down and they actually grab fuzzy like that. That's a big one. Alright, so now what we're going to do is we're going to do a deep clean on this thing, is I'm going to pop off the bottom plate. Careful on laying your machine down. Make sure your flipper back here is down. The handle is up and there's no pressure on anything. Alright, and underneath there are 2 screws here. Phillips or flathead, either one. Alright. And there you go. And the back plate comes off, and a whole bunch of stuff falls out. Alright, and that is the underside of your machine. Now this part here, it's a little gear looking thing. There is grease on it, so make sure you don't dig all that grease out. It is highly necessary. The only thing you should do here is use your vacuum or your Q-tips and just take away the fuzz as best as you can. Alright, so we're going to polish this up real quick in here. So dead center inside of this is a little plug. It's like felt. Do not remove it. But all the other fuzzies in here, get them out. You can see, pretty nasty. Alright. Now we're going to go ahead and hit this with a little bit of canned air. And since the bottom plate is open, it'll push the rest of the fuzzies down. Don't go at an angle this way, because this does lead inside to the base of the machine over here. So just straight down. Little poofs, not too much. And there we have it. Alright, so machine is completely cleaned up, and we're ready to put on the new feed dog. Like I said, super simple. So here's the new one. And here is the old one. There's not a lot of visual difference between the two, but you can feel the difference between the two. So, just like it came out, go straight on. Take your little bolts. Those stubbies don't always work. Make sure they're super tight. Definitely don't need those wandering around on you. Alright, there you go. Not going anywhere. And that's it for that. So now we're going to reassemble this thing and see how it works out. Okay, so this just slips back in. This little yellow dot where the screw is goes onto your front. This little hook slips underneath this metal, and this little side piece slips underneath this. So just wiggle it back in there, and there you have it. And there it is. It should have a little bit of playroom. You definitely want that. You should not have to go through and adjust any of this stuff. If you do, take it in to somebody who can calibrate it for you. Alright, but yeah, should have a little bit of wiggle. Like I said, this thing just slips out. And wiggle it back down. And there you have it. Okay, there's our new feed dog, nice and tight, not moving. Everything's cleaned out. We'll go ahead and put the top plate back on and assemble the rest of it. Alright, when putting this back on, you need to slide it up in there, pop in the back end first, and then gently pop it in. If you have a lot of resistance, that means it's not lining up, and just keep slowly wiggling it and it should line up. Never force it, because you'll screw up that little flipper, which is what is used to lower and raise your feed dog, and that will mess up how the machine operates. So again, if you're going to do this by yourself, pay attention to what you're doing. And don't hurt your machine. If you don't have the confidence to do it, then hire somebody who does know how to do it. Have them work on your machines. Even though these things are considered throwaway machines, if maintained properly, they will last a very, very long time. So I do all the general service on my machines, but every now and then I do take them in to have them deep cleaned, and you should. I know it is expensive, but it is worth it. So yeah, more fuzzies. So that's in. Feed dog is working. Alright, let's go ahead and put our foot back on. Again, make sure it's super tight. Slip our needle back in. Nice thing is, with the new machines, there's only one way the needle can go in. The old ones, you had to pay attention to where that flat side was. Alright, make sure that's super tight. You ever had a needle fall out while you were in the middle of stitching? It's scary. Alright. Let's just see how dirty this thing was. Yeah. Oh yeah. Pretty bad. So it's definitely due for a cleaning. Alright, I'm going to get this all cleaned up, and we're going to go ahead and give this for a test drive. Alright, we're all cleaned up. We're threaded. I have a couple layers of just regular cotton. And we're going to see how this works. And it's feeding by itself. Alright. Let's go ahead and do Alright. And there you go. And that's with no guidance. So it's feeding nice and even, nice and smooth stitches. Let's go ahead and see what it does with thickness. So we're going to go ahead and do a couple layers. So there is 8 layers. Go back to just a regular stitch. And there you go. So, again, nice and smooth, feeding itself, and it's working out great. So yeah, pretty good. I hope you found this useful, and if you do have any questions or would like to see something else, please leave a comment below, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you for visiting my studio. Bye.